you guys look beautiful tonight. You really do. Like, this room looks amazing. Like, all the melanin is popping. If you do not know me, my name is Brianna McCann. I am a social worker. I am a therapist. I am a daughter, a friend, a coworker. I am a girlfriend. I am, a lot of things. I'm also going to be hosting and moderating this curated therapist chat this evening. I am so very excited that you guys all came out tonight just to, again, if you don't know me, I'm going to be celebrating my 35th birthday in 2 days. And so, in honor of my birthday, I wanted to celebrate myself, but I also wanted to do somewhat of like a passion project, something that I'm passionate about, something that feeds into, my career, that, feeds into my community and people that look like me, and just, doing the work that I am like setting out to do in the world. So I'm just really excited that, this many people showed up for me tonight. I'm also really excited, humbled, and honored at the panelists that showed up today. You guys are amazing. As much as you guys are like peers of mine, I'm also a fan of each and every one of you. You guys, like, going through your bios, I'm just like, yeah, shout out to you guys, shout out to us. Like, we are really doing it. And there's also people that, are in the field that are here tonight. So shout out to everybody that's doing their thing in social work and therapy and the community in general. I wanted to get started by just doing a quick toast with everybody to bring in the night. So if everybody can grab their glasses, I really do hope that, everybody can take something away from the conversation that we have tonight. But for me, I would like to wish upon all of you a level of peace, a level of courage, a level of discernment, a level of, can somebody get him you need a drink too. A level of just love. I hope that any of your doubts and fears that you may have, that you find a way to surpass those. And I wish upon you a beautiful night, a beautiful summer. Again, thank you all for being here. So cheers to that. Okay. So it is a Saturday night. I wanted to get started by just kind of like grounding the room all together so that we all kind of are on an even slate. So I have a quick grounding exercise, and it requires 2 directions. Okay, so the first thing that I'm going to ask you guys to do is to breathe in through your nose. The second thing is to swallow. And the third thing is to breathe out through your mouth as if you're blowing out a candle. Like, okay, so has everybody got that? We're going to try it one more time, okay? So you're going to breathe in through your nose. You're going to swallow. And you're going to breathe out like you're blowing out a candle. Anybody need some further direction on that part, or we got that part? Okay, we good. Okay, the second step is very simple. I'm going to go through a series of questions. What I want you guys to do is answer with only or uh-huh, okay? You may not use any words. There are no explanations. If you get something wrong, it's okay. Just keep going with it. Oh, the music. If you get something wrong, it's okay. Just keep going with it. So we are... So... And there's going to be so many and uh-huhs going on that nobody's going to know if you or uh-huh. Okay, so try not to be self-conscious. And if you are open to it, you can close your eyes while you do this as well. So, Let's see. So we're gonna breathe in through our nose. Swallow. Breathe out through your mouth as if you're blowing out a candle. Was it difficult for you to swallow?
Yeah.
Are you here with somebody? Was it difficult for you to swallow? Are you here with someone? Are you happy? Do you love yourself? Did you eat enough today? Are you hungry? Are you hydrated? Are you tired? Are you mentally tired? Are you physically tired? Is your soul tired? Do you miss anyone right now? Do you have a to-do list in your mind? Are you calm? Do you like yourself? Was that breath kicking when you blew? Are you healthy? Did you sleep well? Okay, one more time. I'm going to ask you guys breathe in through your nose. Take a swallow and breathe out through your mouth. Okay, so I really enjoy that kind of grounding exercise because I'm not always in a space where I can just slow down. Sometimes I need something fast-paced because that's the way that life is moving around me. So I like this exercise because you do check in with yourself. You do like, did I eat today? And even if you answered it quickly, moving on throughout the rest of the night, maybe I need to get a couple of those nuggets over there, or, eat some fruit or drink some water because we do have water over there as well. So without further ado, I thank you guys for doing that exercise with me. Without further ado, I would like to introduce the panelists for the night. So I'm going to have you guys that are part of our panel to come up on stage, and we're kind of going to get started with this discussion. And you can choose any seat that you'd like. Yeah. And so for now, we have one mic that's working. So what I'm going to do is pass this mic around. I'm going to start with you, Jamar. And I'm going to let you guys introduce yourselves. Tell us a little bit about what you do. If you have a business, you can shout your business out, and maybe even a little bit about why you got into the work that you're in.
So I'm Jamar Barnes. I've been working in the field for about 8.5 years. I've been doing human service work for about 20 years. I have a business called Move for Thoughts, Integrative Wellness, which we work on anxiety, trauma, and depression. I've been in business for about 1.5 years. I'm also a travel social worker and a travel therapist, and I've just been navigating a lot of different spaces. What brought me to this profession is a hodgepodge or a compilation of personal experiences, professional experiences, and educational experiences. I was a foster kid. I had many different mentors and social workers that empowered me and gave me a lot of validation and value. And then I was like, you know what, I want to do this one day. I want to do that. Some of my career choices, I was at a group home. I worked at Foot Locker as a salesman, so I had the mouthpiece, but I also needed to kind of connect that and bring that with the human service part. So that is my passions, and I do it before a paycheck.
Hi, my name is Paris Smith. I'm a licensed clinical social worker, and I'm the owner and founder of Mending Minds Mental Health Collective. It's a private solo practice that just consists of me for now. And what brought me to this field was that I was a very sensitive child with lots of feelings, but I also had two very hardworking parents that may not have always had the capacity for all of my feelings. And I just think it's important for people to have a space that is safe, that is non-judgmental, to feel heard, to feel understood, and that is why I do this work.
Hey everybody. My name is Aaliyah Nuruddin, and I'm a licensed clinical social worker as well. I have a private practice called Ashe Mental Health and Wellness Space, and I focus my work on Black women, and particularly our restoration, reclaiming our identities, deconstructing parts of who we are, and leaning more into restorative practices. And what inspired me specifically right now in my career is decolonizing therapy and decolonizing the work that we're doing, separating from a lot of the Eurocentric work and the Eurocentric practices of therapy. So that is the passion work that I'm engaged in as an African-centered social worker. So I'm excited to be in this space and to share this space with so many beautiful Black folks and talk about our healing.
Hello, everyone. Lafia. A lot of things I'm going to repeat from Aaliyah because we are in a cohort too. So we took the initiative to also do extra education around cultural healing and African centeredness. So you may going to get a lot of repetition of that conversation. So my name is Clarissa Cannon. I'm originally from Inglewood, California. I relocated out of here. I relocated to Richmond 7 months ago now, I believe. So I'm an LCSW. I would prefer to call myself an African healer, African centered healer, but for Western terms, right? The practice is called Oshun Family Healing Services. And Oshun is an orisha that represents self-introspection, really healing through the waters, healing through your wounds, which is water, right in there. And that was the dream, and that's why I came here to do that. So with the practice is actually becoming a community mental health agency. So I'm leaving no one out. I'm gonna be working with my juvenile babies, at-risk youth, DCFS, right? And it's gonna be very system focused along with community based. So working on those contracts as we speak. Why? Why? The system. The system is why. I can talk about my family, I can talk about my story, but at the end of the day, at the end of all of that is the system. Oppression, right? What hit me even further to go in this path was when Trayvon Martin hit when I was in high school and I couldn't do anything about it. And I was affected. And I kept asking myself, what can I do? And I went through so many roles, from a principal to a Supreme Court justice. I went through lines of justice work for us, right? And it came down to being a social worker, right? And then that came down to being a healer, and that came down, right? It just kept leveling down to this aspect. So my why is looking at the system and how it has impacted us, but also healing women, Black girls, because that's how the generation is, right? We birth, we create. So my goal is to start with the wound of the woman and repair that maternal lineage, okay? Am I missing a question here? No? Okay. You'll get to know a little bit about me later on. Thank you guys for the opportunity.
Hello, hi, I'm Kimberly Ward. I'm a licensed clinical social worker, licensed in 7 states. Most of those licenses was in the height of the pandemic. I was already, prior to the pandemic, licensed in DC, Maryland, and Virginia. But the additional licenses, including Delaware, New Jersey, New York, and West Virginia, came during the pandemic. And I started Kim Cares Wellness, which includes distant Reiki, also individual and family counseling, and also providing the supervision for licensed master level social workers. And I also am board approved to supervise licensed graduate professional counselors in Maryland. And I wear a lot of hats. I don't just do Kim Cares Wellness. happen to be on break right now because I work at a school full time. And I wear that hat too. That's my full-time hat, but I'm on break right now from it because it's summertime. And I work with elementary students. Prior to that, worked in the middle school population. And so also I presented at conferences. The National Association for Social Worker National Conference that just wrapped up in Washington, D.C. this June. And also, I presented at the National Association for Social Worker Conference in Virginia, Metro DC, and even virtually for West Virginia, and even the Black Mental Health Conference. I happen to be on the same ticket as Megan Good and Jonathan Majors. Yes, so I just wrapped that up in Raleigh this past February and did the Millennial Social Work Conference in Atlanta. So I present, wear a lot of hats, and I'm connected to my passions. And also, I just, in March, during Social Work Month, got enough votes to get the Advocacy and Action Award through through Samara Stone, who has actually started as of last year doing voting for people to get awards during Social Work Month. So I got one in March of this year. So the why. The why started when I unconsciously went through trauma myself. And I had to learn and navigate through my journey and really getting, the support for me. And so what made a difference is really practicing what I preach. So I did my own work, and that made me want to help others and really connect them to resources, giving them the strength and courage to move forward on their path as well. So that was the why for me. Into doing what I do and continuing what I do. Yes, I have been in work environments where I did not agree with how they practice and operate. And so I made my own shifts. I said, if they're not going to change how they do things, and it's all, for me, is about the people. It's not about the politics. It's not about really, I'm going to be honest with you, people, egos get in the way. But we miss why. There are children in need. There are adults that need our support. That's what that's about. So I moved away from those things, and I'm continuing to do this work because I want to do it. That's more important than anything. No monetary value or anything can really change what I am, here for. And basically being about integrity. So that's the reason why I do the work I do, and definitely here, definitely to really be a part of this tonight. So thank you very much for the opportunity.
Amazing. Honestly, you guys are all amazing. I hope you're proud of the work that you do because it is needed work. I am going to do something that's called hot takes. So it's gonna be like a little bit of a game, a little bit of a icebreaker. I am gonna grab some flags to give to everybody up here, and everybody should have a red and a green flag in front of them. Do you have one? Yeah, we can grab this real quick.
Thank you.
Okay. So everybody has a red and green flag so that you guys can participate as well. What I'm going to do is call out basically an unpopular opinion. Shout out to Kayla who gave me that idea. An unpopular opinion that relates to social work and mental health. And you guys can put a red flag or a green flag up if you agree or if you disagree. And I will, if we have a red and a green up here, I'll pass the mic to to whoever and let them, kind of talk about their take. So the first one, and these are unpopular. These are not my opinions. These are unpopular opinions. Okay, disclaimer. I did not make these up. Okay. Black people use church and prayer in place of therapy and coping tools.
I want to say.
Okay. Yeah, you want to put both flags up? Does anybody briefly want to talk about what their take is on this?
I mean, since I'm trying to do both.
Yeah.
Since I want to do both, this is such a layered. That's ooh, you starting out real heavy on the topic. I think it's just so layered. I think that we do as a community, we are so rooted in faith, right? And faith is a coping tool, right? I think we had to survive. The only way to survive what we've gone through as Black folks is to have faith and to have spirit and to have connection to the higher power. And I do believe that we also have had narrative. There's been so much systemic abuse when it comes to healthcare that there is a reason why there's stigma that exists. There's a reason why we've leaned into other forms of our own healing. But I do think that the stigma of what therapy can provide is something that we're working on as a community to open up. And these conversations are helpful to be able to open up our pathways and to diversify some of our healing practices. So that's why I'm like, it exists, but there's reason for it. And then, I think that we are culturally changing some of the narrative now.
Okay.
So.
Does anybody else want to add in? We can go to the next one. Did you want to? Yeah. Okay. Some people actually are not ready for therapy. Ooh, we got a lot of green. Okay.
Yeah.
I want to hear you because you're on the edge.
Yeah,
talk
that one's
about it.
that one's yeah. Yeah, that one's difficult. So, yeah, some people are ready, or we are ready, until we get there. Till we get there, and then I get cancellations for 4 weeks in a row. I think we, when we as a people definitely want to heal. We want change. We just don't know how. Mm-hmm. Exactly. And sorry. So I think when it comes down to healing and it comes down to this thing, the pain and the symptoms is unbearable. That's why we coming, because we want to get rid of it. Mm-hmm. Right? So I think that was a double-edged sword. There is kind of like, I don't want to go, but now I gotta come because it's too much. I can't do it. No, I can't hold on to it no more. Fix it. I need this to be healed today. So it's both ends of it. So yeah, I was gonna say it's both ends.
Yeah, absolutely.
I also feel like not being ready is part of the journey. Like, it's not a negative thing to not be ready. Like, I've had clients and, I'm like their fifth therapist, and with their first, they were not ready to talk about what we're talking about now on Therapist 5. And there's nothing wrong with that. Like, your journey is your journey, and when it's time, when you're ready to face that part of you or that look at yourself in that mirror, you will be ready, and your journey is personal. Yeah, exactly.
So I think therapy is a joining process. It has to be some buy-in. I know some people are mandated to go to therapy, and sometimes you see the difference between someone mandated versus the joining part. I also notice in my practice that some people come from sequestered spaces, echo chambers, and part of anxiety sometimes isn't to be so validative, right? I find myself telling people to sit with certain things It's not a time where I'm giving you validation. And I think that when people come to therapy, they have these expectations of us having a magic wand, letting them know that there is a process in this. So, yeah, I agree. Green flag.
Can I add a little caveat? Okay. I also think that there's a difference between going to therapy and having a therapist and participating in therapy. And I think what happens a lot of time is folks can say, oh, I have a therapist, right? I see them every Wednesday. But are you participating in the therapy? Are you actually doing the work, right? Are you confronting the discomforts and the uncomfortable truths? Because that's the work, right, that happens in therapy too. So there's just a little caveat there.
The other thing is culture. Culture, background, religious background could be a factor that impacts readiness. Because I have worked with different people in my practice that have went through deep-rooted trauma that were not ready at one point, because in the house is one of those things where whatever we talk about in this house stays in the house. So because of that, they were afraid to start doing the work. Also, they didn't know how to do the work because of their own background, their upbringing. So once I found that in more than likely the pandemic, that's when it hit them. And I'm not saying everybody was ready to go to therapy, but that's when the readiness came, especially one of my individual clients who went through a very traumatic situation and didn't have an outlet. So that what drew her to seeking therapy. So those are factors too with the readiness, upbringing, culture and religious background.
Yeah, that's a great point. You wanna?
Yeah, let me just top it off one more time. I promise you I'm not going to dominate the energy. Sometimes in the intake process, I tell a client that therapists are like mirrors. Some therapists are like mirrors. Mirrors are tools of correction, right? They don't tell you what to do. If you want to be told what to do, go to a life coach, right? A therapist, and no disrespect to no life coaches, but a therapist is a tool of correction. So if you see that your makeup is off or your tie isn't straight, the mirror tells you your tie isn't straight, your makeup isn't right. It's up to them to fix it. You can go out and say, you know what, I'm not gonna fix it. I'm not gonna fix my tie. It's up to you. So I like to tell people that this isn't we're tools of correction. We're mirrors, and some people are not ready to look in mirrors.
Okay, these are some great points, you guys. I'll do one more of these. Okay, so AI, if not already, will soon be able to take the place of a therapist. I love all the red that I'm seeing. Okay. It's not the same. Okay. It will never be the same. Give me a reason. Give me a quick reason. I'm going to go around.
Okay, quick reason. AI cannot replace a person. You can't know a feeling from AI. You don't know the actual real live response from the therapist from AI. That's my response to that.
All right. Oh, do you want to?
Yeah, I had a moment in a session where may have felt a disconnect. And she messaged me at the end, was like, oh, I'm just feeling, I don't know if it was that day or what, but I felt like there was a disconnect. And I may be off my game some days, I am human. But regardless of it, it's just, that to me gave a moment that our clients are coming in and people are coming in, they need the energy, right, from you. They need the feeling from you. And I'm looking like no robot or no anything to be able to take a place because they're coming for that energy, that love that they didn't receive, right, from their system, from their mom, from their family. So they come in to get that warm energy from you, or from me, from us, right? So yeah, I'm not replaceable.
Yeah, so I have two up because I feel like a contrarian. I promise I'm not. But I feel like there's a goal for AI to replace, the profession. And I think there is a lot of user experience where a lot of people are seeking AI for that reason. And it's interesting because AI was really created to be self-sustainable, right? AI is created for the user to always want to go back. So AI will always tell you, you're great, you're amazing. You tell them I'm about to go do something, they're like, that's a great idea. And you're like, I just busted somebody's window. That is not a good idea. And they're like, you know what that is? That's power. And you're like, right? So I think the harm in that is that when people seek AI for therapy, it is going to just continue to reinforce negative behavior and negative beliefs. And I think that's why so many people actually do use AI for therapy, because it's not challenging and it's not having them sit in the discomfort. So I have two up because I see that there are a lot of people that will continue to use it as a tool of therapy, but it absolutely can never replace the intention of therapy and the human connection and the actual growth that is that's supported by professionals that are human in the field. So.
And yes, to piggyback off of almost everyone up here, I don't think the AI can replace us as therapists. Yes, they will try. They will try to water down our work. They cannot replace us. Just like Aaliyah said, the goal is to keep coming back, where I think we want our clients to be self-sustaining. We are joyous for the day where you say like, hey, I actually think I'm good. You know, I don't need you to hold me accountable. Like, I've got the skills, I've got the tools. And I don't think AI wants that, you know, for our clients. It wants you to stay in the loops, to keep convincing you that, yeah, what you're thinking is like so profound. And also, like my brother over here said, your therapist is a mirror. We provide corrective responses. So when somebody's telling a traumatic story, like, it's my job to show like I'm showing like a sad body language. Your AI can't show body language. I'm providing a corrective experience for the stories that you're telling me while I'm holding, you know, space for your trauma. So you can't replace us.
And I don't have much to say about this. You all killed it. I vehemently agree with everyone up here. I just think that human connection is key. Too validative. It's just it has its usage, but it's not going to replace a therapist.
Yes, sir. One thing I want to AI cannot replace the credentials that a social worker or mental health professional does. We have to be credentialed and licensed to practice our work. How is AI going to do that? Seriously, that's my thought on that.
I was going to say one more thing.
Yeah, sure.
I think specifically it may replace, I don't know for other races, but for Black people it can't, because of that energy, that rhythm, that vibration that we get with each other, because we are electric, right? We feel it. We go into a room, oh, it's a little off in here. Like, easy. So I can only imagine, right? So they go into someone that's, you know, AI generated, you know, to help them with their problems. Oh, I'm out of here, right? So I just wanted to add that piece to that too.
Yeah, and AI is not held to a code of ethics at all either. So, all right. So we are going to get into our first topic, and I would like to ask a couple or all of you how being a clinician impacts your personal relationships, how it impacts your perspectives, the way that you interact with family, friends. That is the topic.
Okay.
You want to start?
Okay, I start. Wow. How it impacts the interaction and really experience. In the past I've had people say, "Ooh, you're a social worker. Let me talk to you about my problem." I'm like, I hear what you're saying, but honestly, you know, I have a duty, a job, and I have to be present for my clients. You know, respectfully, you're not paying for service here, and I'm not going to take it from you because I'm not going to violate any boundaries. I'm not going to do that. So that's the thought that I've had experience with before. As far as, you know, my background, actually, I will say that, because I'm biracial, honestly. My mother's Korean, my father's black. So, my mother, she was like, "Oh, they don't make enough money. You go do social work. They don't make enough money," because that's what people were conditioned to learn. And I said, well, this is what I really want to do. At first, that wasn't my go-to, but when you go through life experience, you start to realize what it is that you really want to move towards. As far as interaction with people, I would have to say that honestly, I learned from work, like some things that happen, experiences, the singling out, the distancing, the disconnect. I've even experienced a lack of integrity in certain situations, not from me, but of course, circumstances. It really drove me to really, from healing my own inner work to really be able to continue to do the work. Because in order for me to be able to pour out and do the work, I have to do work on me. I had to really move away from certain things that no longer serve me so I can continue to give back in that passion of what I really wanted to do and truly connect more to my authentic self of who I am. So that's how, the experience have impacted me. But my mother see now, I just want to add this, my mother see now that respectfully, she was wrong. She see how successful I am now. So now I've been taking care of family and taking being able to have experience with my family on trips.
Right.
So I said, Mama, you was wrong, you see? But I love you though.
Question one more time, Anna.
The question, so how does just being a social worker, being a therapist, how does it impact relationships that you have in life? How does it impact the way that you interact with family, with your community?
For sure. I think it has impacted me on a very spiritual level. It has impacted me on an emotional level. One is because sometimes I would say the more deeper you are in this work, the more you can see the things that others can't see. Right? So with me, I'm looking at a burning house environmentally, right, in the community, working with my DCFS in LA. It impacted the way that I was able to engage, meeting them where they're at, knowing that it was not going to be a change because of the damages that were done, right? So being able for me to accept that I can only do what I can do, and that's going to be enough, right? I can't change everyone. I can't heal this system alone, right? And I think I'm still struggling with that. And that's just what it is. When you know the truth and everyone is still in a different reality than you, right? It becomes very hard. And doing social work is not only professional, it is personal for me. So I don't see a detachment or a separation to that either. So in my home, social worker is impacted as well because I look at it from a cultural aspect. So I have 2 daughters. So a lot of things that we do is incorporated into the values of African-centeredness, right? Healing them through those things, teaching them, educating them the truth about who they are. But yeah, honestly, it's in the system that, it's a boot camp I was thrown into in California. It really didn't play. It was really, really hard work. And I noticed that's where the politics and the money was dealing with. And that took away my ability to grow. And I realized that the way that they was approaching our community, because it was majority of us in that community, it wasn't in the lens of truly wanting to help. It was just in the lens of a dollar, right, in an exchange. So that's why I created, my own practice, because it's coming from the heart. I see you, Subuana. I see you, you see me. So the work is the work, and I don't think I'll ever get burnt out because I'm dealing with us, and I love it. So yeah, I'll keep that there.
We're gonna get to burnout too, okay? So, anybody else?
I do want to acknowledge it is really, really difficult to have your own personal autonomy, be able to have your own personality in this. while also simultaneously maintaining the veneer of civility and professionalism of social work. So to this day, just like Clarissa said, it's a really tough journey to this day for myself. I like to use the analogy. I know it's not a good one, but I'm like the Bruce Wayne of this. Doing the professional work during the day, good PR, just got a good PR way of me. But at night, I can be a bit bombastic. I can be a bit callous sometimes, and I can just be in different spaces. And I'm learning today that I need to synergize the profession and the personal self. So it's still a work in progress. And I'm not trying to make this a confessional. So.
And I would say for me, I've noticed that I need a lot of silence. I mean, I'm in the car, and I can't tell you the last time I put on Apple Music, Spotify. I need dead silence. And another thing is, I think this work requires, well, for me, it requires so much case conceptualization. Like, you're looking at your client and the whole, and you're understanding, like, oh, the function of these behaviors. And then in my personal life, I forget to turn that off. I'll sit there and say, like, oh, well, she probably, because of all this happened to her, this is in her background. It's like, no. How are you feeling? How did it impact you? Take your therapist hat off and go talk to your friend. So that's the impact on me. Did you want?
Good? Okay. The next topic is if you guys could give maybe your golden tool. So one practical, tactical tool that you might offer somebody without very much context at all that is struggling on a day-to-day, or maybe just something that you offer to your clients that you find very helpful, or maybe something you use on your own. Anybody want to start?
Boundary setting. I used to be one of those that said yes to a lot of things until it hit me one day. So I have had sessions with clients because I've done it. So where I've really walked through steps they can take because they said, oh, everybody is pulling me in so many different directions. I know what that felt like personally because I went through it and I had to set boundaries. So we walked through that and what that looked like, and then make a plan so they can start taking those steps to setting those boundaries. It's okay not to say yes to everything. Some people might not like it, but you got to look at it from your angle, how you feel, what is right for you.
The number one thing I think I always do is start with the ancestors and libations in my practice, personally as well with my kids and myself. We heal through them. And we can't forget them. So I do that in that space, and that is a very good way to also connect with those that have came before us, because that's where the wisdom is at, So that's one thing I do in my practice is teach and educate about ancestral healing, ancestral, reclaiming, right? Restoring that lineage line is ancestral healing.
I think something that is really important that I could offer is, depending on what we're healing from, complete symptom reduction may not be possible, right? And I think of that in the context as we are Black folks living in America, and a lot of what we experience is trickle down of oppression, right? As I know Clarissa's mentioned earlier. So sometimes the anxiety that we live with, the PTSD that we live with, the depression that we live with is a function of living and surviving in America. So starting with just the understanding that some things may not be 100% resolved, right? And being able to understand that, having some introspection as to why that may not be able to happen, is something that I think is important. It's not necessarily a tool, but it is a contextual understanding of how we've had to exist here and that we are surviving through all of that still.
I would say for the golden tool, I always like to start with getting very clear on your values. Your values serve as your North Star. You know, it's when the feelings get so loud and the feelings want you to isolate, you know, to shut down. But your values say that I value community and I value family. So even though your feelings are telling you to self-isolate, you know, back off, just shut away from everyone. If your values say, yeah, but I value community, then you got to get out in the community, and that's where the healing can begin, when we're in alignment with what our values and not just operating on the big feelings that come across us.
I have a lot of tools. I think I like to practice what we call opposite action. That's a part of dialectical behavior therapy, which is something I practice in the profession. It's just employing acceptance and change and just bringing it together. Anytime I think about dialectical, I think about Booker T. Washington and W.E.B. Du Bois, who had difference of opinions. One said, go to school, get an education. The other one said, you have to build things with your hands. They were able to come together and make this dialectical. So acceptance and change, I like to pull from that opposite action. Like Paris said, whenever you isolate, get out there, touch grass, right? Let the ancestors run through you when you put your bare feet in the grass, or let the river flow through you, Oshun. So I just like to do opposite action. My mind might tell me, hey, I want to stay in the house, I don't want to talk to anybody, I want to be alone. But then opposite action tells me, go ahead and talk to someone.
Yes, sir.
That's amazing. And my mother is here tonight, so I just wanted to shout out to Kimberly that talked about boundary setting. Sometimes it's okay to say no. That's right. Okay. Our third topic is a very important one to me. Something that I encourage a lot in our field. I know that in our field, there is a lot of burnout. I told y'all I'll come back to that burnout. There is a lot of burnout, and there is a lot of, I think it was Aaliyah that talked about, or I'll say, us being therapists, I think there's a lot of expectation that, we are okay and we are doing well and we are succeeding at all of the things that, mental health encourages. But my question to you guys is how you take care of yourselves, whether you practice what you preach, and not coming from a judgmental place, but coming from a place of, if we want to instill mental health into the Black community, I think a lot of times it starts with us, and it starts with the care that we give to ourselves. So how are we taking care of ourselves? I'm gonna start this way.
So I like to do everything. I like to be eclectic. I'm actually writing something I'm writing a book, just kind of exploring what it is to do a lot of things in different timelines, in different time frames, excuse me. I box, I go, and I think it's a little bit more than taking a bubble bath. I think like being physically active. I play darts, I'm pretty good at darts. I play cards, spades. I think I play them all with the exception of blackjack, but I make sure I'm occupying my mind with different activities and making sure I'm out of the mental health mindset. So I box, play cards, and I go to the movies too. Self-care is, I actually got a YouTube channel where I review movies. So that's the whole different side of me.
Yeah, and I do something similar. I just practice having a full life. Like, I cannot be just a therapist. It is a part of me, but I have to, fill up those other spaces of me. So I do pottery. I read. I'm a big Kindle lover. Go to the movies, go to the gym, I nourish my body, make sure that I like have the family time. But I'm not perfect. I have moments where I don't got it in me, and I allow myself like, all right, yeah, slip up a little bit, but after a while you got to get up. So I try to practice what I preach, but part of that is also knowing that I'm human and I can't do it all the time.
Yeah, I think we all will echo the same sentiment that practicing what you preach can be a lot harder to do, and we're all on different journeys of what that looks like for us. I would say right now what I'm most focusing on is what are my restorative practices. Just last week it was my birthday, and I spent the week in Sedona, Arizona at a wellness estate, and I completely, like Paris knows, I wasn't talking to nobody during the week. I was not on any social media, no technology, no client-centered work, no anything. And I was just sitting with my thoughts, and I came back with that realization for myself that my restorative practices in my day-to-day are not as robust as they need to be, right? It is not as expansive as I would like them to be. So the way that I am committing to myself right now is to be more mindful of what restoration looks like in my life, given the work and the heavy toll of the work that we do. So,
Thank you.
I sleep. I got 2 kids. I'm asleep. I slept in today, that's for sure. Took me a while to get here, but I got here. But I sleep now. It may be small, but it's really big for me. It is. But yeah, sleep, and I also restore myself through my kids. At their age, I didn't get a lot of that connection and time and fun and laughter and doing, so we restore ourselves by me just doing kid stuff. We traveled together on the East Coast. They never been to New York, so we did that. That was really fun. But just trying to figure out different activities that they're in to get out and unplug, right, from what I do on a day-to-day. But yeah, I love skating. I really am tapping back to parts of me that was actually stripped, right? So I restore myself through healing my inner, and it's really hard to do that in this system. It's really hard to rest. It's really hard to unplug. So, yeah, that's all I can say to that.
All right. For me, I'm gonna go back to boundaries, because, like I work at this school I just left. Actually, I'm going to another one, but I said they had bingo night in the evening. I said no, I'm not doing that. Only because I wanted to pour into myself, my passions. Yes, I'm here. I'm gonna be present when I'm supposed to be present. Outside of that, I need to pour into myself. I need to connect to my why. I need to really, whether it's going to painting, or whether it's taking a walk outside, or just listening to some inspiration, whether it's music. Actually, part of my healing journey was listening to Louise Hay, to be honest with you. So that was part of my healing journey, and being introduced to her at a conference back in, wow, it's been years, 2018. So definitely following her, and traveling. I started traveling more, honestly, when the pandemic hit. I know I had to take a little break because things were shut down, but once it was okay to travel. I said, I'm going to go somewhere. I'm going to go fly on a plane. And actually, I got a cruise coming up July the 5th. So I'm actually going to be leaving from Baltimore to go to Bermuda. So I'm taking care of myself. I pour into work. It's time for me to pour into myself. and really do see some places that I enjoy to see, and also definitely taking road trips, going to the beach somewhere. So yes, I'm a work, but there are times where I say, okay, I need to turn my work hat off and really do the pleasure hat and having fun for myself, so I can really be able to pour into the work once I regroup. And definitely, I like to go to the movies too, and comedy shows and plays. I'm interested in those things as well. Just overall, doing some things that are fun, and really going to museums too. So that's another thing.
One more thing to add. Oh, I have one more thing to add to restore. I just began, when I relocated from Los Angeles to Virginia, I made it very important for me and my kids to find communities that practice African spirituality. That was one of the hugest urgency for me. Why? Is because I only been reading about it, right? Only been searching about it. So in that space, every time we go to these festivities, we got the drumming, we got what we call spirits, right? We got the spirits, we got the drumming, we got the music, we got the dancing, and that level, oh my goodness, that's that's an energy drink right there, because it shakes things in you, and things like that. So that, I was going to say, those are things that I have been doing more of, is connecting to spiritual communities that is African centered as well, to get that connection to our ancestors and things like that. Yeah.
You sure?
Well, I will speak for both of us then. I was just gonna say something. Me and Aaliyah and I come up with a group it's called Hooky Day, or therapists out of office, and the whole idea is for therapists to get out of the office and play, to connect, to have fun. We're not networking. We're not. I mean, conversations still end up being but the idea is for us to have fun, to take therapist's hat off. So, Hooky Day.
If I was to tell the general public where to start with when it comes to self-care, I always say embrace your inner child. We all have an inner child. If you can remember, my inner child, I was inquisitive, right? I used to ask questions. Just ask. And I know it used to get on everybody's nerves. I think that adults are too critical sometimes, right? You ever been in a conference where you asked a question and it wasn't fully answered, and you don't ask another question? I think that inner child in me is still like, hey, let me just keep asking until I get an answer, right? That inner inquisitiveness, that childlike curiosity. What happened to that childlike curiosity, right? Or that childlike courageousness, right? You had a fire. I know I had a fire in me when I was a kid. Now I had to tone it down and muzzle myself as an adult. So I would say kind of scratch that inner child, I guess, for lack of a better term. Make sure that you embrace that inner child.
Okay. The last topic of the night, and we are going to get into a little bit of question and answer because some people asked questions when they signed up for this event. But the last topic of the night is what it looks like to incorporate mental health more intentionally into the Black community. So I do have a couple of questions, but I would encourage you guys to just speak as freely as you would like to speak, and share your thoughts. So what's on your mind? So the first question that I have is, what do you believe the young Black men or women need more of in order to not succumb to the pressures of their environments?
Take 30 seconds.
I know. Take your time.
One more time.
Okay. What do you believe the young Black men or women need more of in order to not succumb to the pressures of their environments?
The first thing came to mind. Honestly, I'm gonna be honest. We need more role models, because that's what's lacking. If you don't see an example, whether it's a positive Black male, positive Black woman, and if you ain't have that upbringing where you were surrounded by that, then what happens is that can impact your upbringing and into adulthood continuing. Also, too, the other thing I'm beyond, because my work is a cut of resources. They cut funding from a number of things, whether it's programs for the youth. It's just issues with budget and funding. It's frustrating because you see, unfortunately, that every time I look at the news, and I just happen to be on social media, you got kids out here carjacking, committing crimes because really the question that I hear about, where the parents at? Why are these kids doing? And I hear that. It's just that as a collective, and I'm saying this on a more bigger picture. I mean, yeah, there's politicians and everything, but what as a collective, what we're doing to bridge that gap from house into community, that's a big issue on a bigger scale, because it's lacking. And that's why you see the news, you see, I mean, unfortunate circumstances. Even I talk about this in my presentation at training. I did one on trigger zones, about the impact of community violence. I also talk about collective healing and community violence, where there's a young guy in Chicago, who was in part of a gang because his parents was incarcerated, and then grandmother is taking care, of the kids. 16 children in the house, foster care. Foster care system is unfortunately, it's jacked up, and so you are in the surrounding, and then you turn to the gang, and then unfortunately he lost his life. So it's just a lot of issues that, I can go on and on about it, but really, it's like more needs to be done on a whole bigger scale to really bridge all of this gap. There's so much of it.
I'm still processing.
I think on that same note, we need the sacred spaces for our communities that really enforce love, and that, because what's happening now, and I can put on a Dr. Umar hat, it really truly feels like there is a war going on, right? And there is destruction of the Black community, the Black family. In so many conversations, I mean, when I look on social media, the amount of videos that I can see that is all about breaking down relationships between Black men and women, the amount of podcasts that are just about not getting married and nobody has value and nobody has worth, and is this person a high value and that. I mean, there is so much content that is truly committed to keeping us all separated. So I really think the communal aspect, having intentional communities, the Ubuntu I am because we are there for I am. Like, we have to go back to that kind of collective identity, because if we don't, we will stay impacted by our environments. And social media is it is curating our environment, right now.
And to piggyback, yeah, I agree that the first thing that comes to mind is like safe spaces, and also more therapists that look like us, that look like them. I used to work at this behavioral school, this behavioral school, and it was a little rough. And one of the things we put together was I think it was like every Thursday. It was mainly boys. I think there was a very small school, 25 boys. And it was called Barbershop Talk. And we had a couple of men from the community come, and no women allowed, but the boys were able to just level and speak in this safe space about what's happening, what's going on at home. And, not everybody was a therapist in that room, but they were willing to hear them, to listen to them, to not judge them. And we had it was the only time in that school that we could have these kids who would be in different neighborhoods. You had to keep separate, but that was the only time that we could have them from whatever neighborhood, all in one area, and everybody agreed that we're not gonna have no foolishness right now because we need to talk. I need to be heard right now. So I think more spaces like that would be really helpful.
I like what Aaliyah said about just establishing what communities are. Excuse me, I'm just short circuiting right now. I think we do need to get back into what values, folkways, and mores we have. We used to love each other, and I'm not saying that we lost that, but we really used to love each other. So we need to get back to those values. Another thing is being in relationships of reciprocity when it comes to our communities. In other words, stop inviting everybody to the cookout, right? Because the cookout is full. People, when you're in relationships of reciprocity, you know this is a fair exchange. They don't invite us to their cookout, and if they do, or their barbecues, or pick the other word, right? They only invite the best and the brightest, right? Or people of the bourgeois, clergy, or whoever. So I just think that we should delineate, right? We should have this value system. And as far as the children, I think values as well as understanding that they have something to offer. Understanding all these children have something to offer. I believe it was Frantz Fanon, who was a friend of Malcolm X, and he was a psychiatrist here in Maryland. He said that every generation has something to offer. And through relative obscurity, we, as the adults, help them fulfill or betray. I'm going to say it one more time. Every generation has something to offer. And through relative obscurity, that means no matter how small, it's relatable. It's up to us to help them fulfill it or betray it. So I'm on the side of helping our generation fulfill things and not helping them betray it.
That's right. Yes.
Did you want to ask?
Yeah, I can ask. Yeah, that was nice. Really good, really good. They actually, paved the way for me to now process. I appreciate that. So, Aaliyah, for sure, and everyone on this panel, we have to, you can't go forward unless you go what? Backwards, right? Going back to go fetch it. What are we fetching? Ourselves, our identity, our true education, right? And you got to start there. We constantly going forward in a system that's not designed for us. We were redesigned. We were recreated. We were rebuilt, not for our gain. Our self-destruction is their win, right? So how do we heal that? What do we do with that? Well, first it's just education. It's not that deep. It's not that hard. People that became before us, our ancestors, they did the work. They traveled to Africa, right? They did the research. We have it all here, but we're not implementing it because it's not through the system. So it's left in the book. So what I would tell, our beautiful kids and young adults and even ourselves here is that you have to go through your culture to heal and know the truth. So she talked about in African centeredness, we're talking about values and beliefs, and that's exactly where it starts because the values that we have are individualistic, right? It's Eurocentric values that we're living in, not Afrocentric or African-centered values. Our African-centered values, we're all about community, but we don't live in community anymore. We're all about family-centered. We have broken homes now. Everything they have done was a strategy to break us, to deteriorate us from the inside out. And that took psychological planning to do that. And now when it hits the psyche, you know how hard it is to unravel that, right? So in order for us to recreate this, it starts with, again, me right now. What can I do? I have 2 kids. This is where it starts with the healing. Now they all have kids. Then right? So we have to regenerate ourselves through our culture and our identity. And I'll leave that there.
So this is, I guess, a little bit more nuanced. It kind of builds upon what we just talked about, but what can adults and parents incorporate to make healthier home environments, and what do kids need more of at home? So pretend maybe you're talking to a parent that does not have any stake in mental health at all, What can we encourage in households to, you know, instill more value into our youth?
Really connectedness. Really being able to come together. Whether it's having dinner table talks, whether it's having like family meetings, something like that. Because a lot of times, when I talk to people, that's what's missing. Because everybody got their own schedule. Nobody's schedule aligns, or the children, because of what's happening in the world, unfortunately, in these circumstances, there's that disconnect. And I know some parents gotta work, you know. However, it's like we got to come together more, and that's a big thing that's continuing to lack in the community, in our community. And definitely, this is an opportunity to really more so really understand what's going on, really being able to feel heard, because everybody, I mean, want to feel heard. Kids want, like, for example, something simple as, the kids want to do maybe sports or something, and apparently like, I can't do that, or I don't have time. It's like, you know, not having that conversation, deep conversations, where you know something, how school is going, what's happening in school, what's happening with your friends, just having those conversations, and the connectedness is what is really what I'm hearing a lot of, more so from my work and what I do. And I definitely have seen it, and I had to have conversations, even like with, I'm gonna be honest with you, couples. A lot of times they don't. I mean, not everyone, but certain couples, they don't have those conversations. Know what the expectations are, what's happening, like how you feeling about this, how and vice versa. So all of that, the connectiveness is really and it ends up becoming a disconnect, because you're not having something simple as that coming together in conversation. Yes, you may not agree, however, we need to come together, and I think structure is another thing. I mean, I know that is, people have different backgrounds. They don't know what structure look like, or maybe because everything's all over the place. But just taking that time, and really taking a start, just at least that can really be on at least a starting point in trying to build and move forward.
Say something. Yeah. Whew, that's hard. That's hard. That's hard work. I think if you don't see yourself in a certain dysfunctional pattern, you won't be able to change it. Right? We talked about mirror. Well, if you show the mirror to the parent that's not actually in a healthy relationship with their kid, it's going, now they got to look at themselves. Now they got to do the work. Now they got to change. Nobody likes to change. So I can definitely sit in front of my client, this and that. I don't want to hear that. My mom didn't do it. My daddy didn't do it. This is the only way to do it. So I realize that when it comes down to the parent and child relationship, speaking for my own, right? I had a choice. I'm either going to continue these patterns or I'm going to break them. But you have to be aware to break it. Right? So I will honestly say it's not going to be easy for me to just give out a tip, give out an advice. It's not going to be easy for me to just give that out. I have to handhold. I have to first build trust. Does she even trust me with this information, right? I got to build rapport first, right? So I'm not going to say this is a one size fit all. It's not going to be a one answer to this conversation, because there's so many levels of pain and trauma that our women and mothers are still going through, and half of them don't even know that they're in the virus of that trauma. When you sick, you sick. How can I heal myself when I'm sick, right? So I would say this. If she is open, if the parent is open, if the child is open, yes, I will guzzle it down their throat on the things that they need to do in order to change. But the first part is themselves. The first part is to understand that that's not you that's speaking. That's your mama. That's your daddy. That's your grandma. That's not you. right? And then the goal is to give them one action step that they can do differently. All right, I'll pick them up on time. All right, let's start there. You know, sometimes it may be small changes, not big. You know, so just being realistic, I think we have to really be sensitive and have grace for our people because they really don't know. You know, so yeah.
Yeah, that's fair. Anybody else on that topic? Okay. I think we are gonna take a brief little intermission. If anybody wants to get some drink, I don't drink alcohol, so please drink some of that champagne over there. And then we'll do some question and answer when we return. So let's say like.